Welcome back to Mystical Charms and Things. I am your host, Psychic Christine Wallace, who has also just opened up another location in Beverly Hills, California. So please keep that in mind. If you are in Southern California, please look me up. Today we are talking about something that quietly shapes people, sometimes for years. What happens when someone else's pain, insecurity, and darkness gets projected onto you? And without realizing it, it begins to form your identity. Projection is when someone cannot face something within themselves. So instead of dealing with it, they place it onto you. Their insecurity becomes your self-doubt. Their anger becomes your anxiety. Their unhappiness becomes your burden. And this doesn't always come through as loud arguments. Sometimes it comes through as silence, neglect, subtle comments, or emotional distance. People do this because they don't know how to process their own emotions. They feel deeply insecure or ashamed. They need to direct their pain somewhere else, or they've never learned how to take accountability. Some are aware and some not, but either way, the impact on you is real. It absolutely is. When this happens over time, it changes how you end up feeling about yourself. You may feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, like you have to prove your worth just to be loved, like you're never quite right no matter what you do. Confused because something feels off, but you can't explain it. You start replaying conversations in your head, second-guessing your actions, blaming yourself for things that were never even yours to carry. And one of the most painful parts is that you begin to lose connection with who you really are. I worked with a woman who came to me feeling completely drained emotionally. It's like her relationship with her mother had shaped so much of how she saw herself. Her mother was critical, dismissive, and very much emotionally unavailable. Nothing was quite good enough. If she succeeded, it was minimized. If she struggled, it was pointed out. And over time, she developed this deep belief that she just wasn't enough. She told me she would hear her mother's voice in her head, even as an adult, telling her she wasn't doing things right. It affected her relationships, her confidence, even her ability to make decisions. That's a big one. She felt undeserving of good things, and when something positive happened, she would almost wait for it to be taken away. There was also resentment there, because deep down, she knew she deserved more love than she actually received. We did work step by step, first helping her recognize that her mother's voice was not her truth. Then we focused on rebuilding her self or her sense of self, learning to validate her own feelings, setting emotional boundaries, replacing that inner criticism with compassion. It wasn't overnight, but little by little she began to feel different, okay? Stronger, clearer, more grounded. And I'm happy to say she went on to do things she once felt too afraid to do. She changed careers into something she was actually passionate about. She built healthier relationships, and for the first time, she felt proud of herself, not questioning it, not shrinking it, but truly allowing herself to feel it. So that is an example of the impact of how projection can affect you in a very deep and negative way, because you start to identify with the judgment that's being put on you. You start to see yourself as being that, even if that isn't true. So I'll give you an example of another client I worked with. she'd been in a marriage for many years where her husband constantly projected his own unhappiness onto her. If he felt insecure, he criticized her. If he felt out of control, he would turn and control her. If he was unhappy, somehow it became her fault. At first, she tried to fix it. She tried to adjust herself to, work this out, try to be more understanding, more patient, especially more patient. But over time, she became someone she didn't recognize anymore. She became quieter, more anxious, again, second guessing herself. She told me she felt like she was disappearing, like she was becoming the version of herself that he made her feel she was. And even after all those years, she still hoped he would change. But here's the truth. She had to face some people are not willing to change. And she was left with a very hard choice, either continue allowing this pain to define her or to finally choose herself. That decision came with fear and also some deep resentment because she had to give so much of herself for so long, But the good part is that she was able to pick up and start anew. We worked together to rebuild her strength, to help her see clearly what was happening, and to reconnect with a part of her that still existed underneath it all. So step by step, she began setting boundaries, began trusting herself and her instincts again. She began seeing her worth clearly. And eventually she made the decision to leave. And I am so proud to say she found peace. Not immediately, but gradually, deeply, and genuinely. She built her life. She started doing things for herself again, making decisions without so much fear and anxiety, exploring who she was outside of that relationship. And for the first time in years, she felt proud of herself, not for surviving, but for choosing herself. Now, these stories may be different, but the root is the same. When someone projects their pain onto you long enough, you can begin to believe it's who you are, but it's not. And healing begins when you separate yourself from what was placed on you to what is truly you. You have to be able to make that distinction. What is me and what was projected onto me that I've turned into whatever this is. You have to be very mindful of that. Ask yourself gently, whose voice do I hear when I doubt myself? When did I start feeling like I had to prove my worth? Am I living as my true self or a version shaped by someone else? What would it feel like to fully choose myself? You don't have to become someone new. You just have to return to who you were before this weight was placed on you. We can start with being more aware of your thoughts, speaking to yourself with more kindness, setting boundaries with people who drain you, trusting your own voice again, allowing yourself to feel worthy without conditions. You were never meant to carry someone else's pain as your identity. And you are not behind in life. You are becoming aware. And that awareness is powerful. The awareness is kind of the amazing part of the whole healing process. Because a lot of us will walk through life not knowing, what the source of this is that I have to deal with. So, this also works with, if you think about, how child abuse has definitely affected how we grow up, how we handle relationships. Again, that's not because you've had, there's something wrong with you. These are other people's stuff that they projected onto you that made you do things differently than you normally would had that stuff not happened. So in my spiritual work, this is the kind of thing that I want to bring to people. Not to change you into someone different, but to clear away all of those layers and layers and layers of toxicity so you can basically be reintroduced to who you truly are. You don't want to be the result of something that someone did to you, because all that self-doubt, affecting your confidence, affecting your self-esteem, that's not something that's serving you. That's getting in your way. It's interfering with your progress. So like right now, what I would like for you guys to do is just please repeat this affirmation after me. First, I'd like you to breathe in positive energy through your nose. Let's go ahead and exhale negative energy out from your mouth. Now let's begin. I release what was never mine to carry. I return to myself. I trust who I am. I am worthy exactly as I am. I want to thank all of you for listening and subscribing. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who may need to hear this. And if you're ready to take your healing power deeper, I'm here for you. Don't hesitate to check out my website, trustedpsychicadvisor.com. And I can be reached at 855-708-2768. And if you're in need of healing, that's exactly what I offer. Thank you so much. Namaste. I wish all of you the very best of luck.